got another one of those time-sensitive announcements for you. If you're watching this at any point other than the day it was released, completely disregard this. But if you are watching this the day it comes out, be aware tonight, 8 p.m. here on YouTube, I have a very special live stream. It's from my Back in the Borough save. We're going to do a complete live transfer window, start to finish. And it's a significant one because it's our first one where we have any kind of budget. If you don't know why we have a budget, and it's a pretty big one for Nuneaton, if you don't know why we have a budget or why this transfer window is significant, you might want to use the next few hours getting caught up on that save before the live stream starts. I hope to see loads of you there. Hello and welcome to Club 6, part 37 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're away against Chelsea in the Premier League and at home against Celtic in the Champions League. And things have got interesting. We're on another one of these nice green runs. I love a green run. And we've got some big wins in there as well. Tottenham, Liverpool, Celtic. We're playing well at the moment, but more significantly than that, Man United are crumbling in the Premier League. They lost, I think it was 4-0. 3-0 against Newcastle last week. Their previous game, no, they beat them there. They've lost a couple of games, is the message. They drew against Brighton. Bottom line, with 9 games left to go, we're only 2 points behind Manchester United now, and we're still to play them at home. Yes, we've also got to play Man City as well, so it's going to be a challenging run-in. But winning the Premier League title is now back in our hands, at least temporarily. We're playing third place. Well, they were third place. They're down to fifth again now. I can't keep track. Playing fifth place Chelsea now away from home. So anything other than a win there and it goes back out of our hands again. But the Premier League race is back on. And obviously we are still pushing on trying to win our first Champions League as well. We're 3-1 up from the away leg. It should be a formality against Celtic. The big one should be the Chelsea game. But you know how these things work. We're probably going to lose in both. So this is the team we're putting out there for the game against Chelsea. And injury news, Pingu is out for a month. So he's going to miss both of those games and potentially some more important games as well. From injuries to Pingu. If it wasn't for these injuries, he would be the best player in the world. But we've got Vice in goal. A back four of Martelot, Felipe, Vitali and Jamie. Davidson, David and Henrique in midfield. Leshy's injured as well. So probably arguably our 2 best players not available for this game. And then Schaefer in behind Dolberg and Pinheiro. Let's get into the game and hopefully pick up a win. If we can beat Chelsea here, we could even go into that Celtic game top of the league. And imagine if we can go to Man United or go to the Man United game in like 4 or 5 Premier League games time above them in the league, playing them at home. That would just be phenomenal and remarkable. And I don't want to get too excited and too ahead of myself, but we are playing very, very good football at the moment. Things are starting to look very, very good for Arsenal again. We seem to be very strong finishers. It's really different from how a traditional Kev team would be. Normally, my teams start really strongly and cling on right at the death and squeeze their way through the back door. We're still going through the back door, but we're kind of barging our way in at the last available moment after really dodgy weak starts. And I don't really know what's different about this team and why we finish stronger than we start. I guess it's something to do with the mental ability of the players. Normally when you get a situation like that, it's because you've signed a lot of players in the summer, but we didn't really do that. Looking at that 11 that are starting this game, the only guy who wasn't here last year is Pinheiro, and he was a player we desperately needed. We've got a couple of other guys like Herford and Lafredo who are in as squad players for the defence, but I don't think they'll have disrupted the squad massively. So it is weird that we didn't start as strongly as we perhaps could have done, but we are now coming good at the business end of the season as long as we can keep this form going against Chelsea here. Otherwise this is all a load of nonsense that future Kev's going to have to edit out so that current Kev doesn't look like an idiot. I'm relying on you, future Kev. Or relying on my players. I mean, a win would be ideal because then future Kev has to do nothing. Because let's face it, we know he ain't doing anything anyway. He doesn't even watch these back when he edits them. He's a lazy toad, that future Kev. I do all the hard graft recording the videos in the first place, and he doesn't even do that bit where you sometimes zoom in on a certain area for effect. Shh, lazy man. Right, let's have a goal just before half-time. And it's cleared. And they've still got Jesus playing for them in 2030. And he is just, he ran past 3 or 4 of our players there. He must be well into his 30s now. And still capable of just jinking past everybody that we can throw in front of him. That's troubling. In other news, a few people have been asking if I'm going to be doing a 10 years in the future or 12 years in the future episode it would be now. I still have every intention of doing it. It's just fitting it into the scheduling that's proving to be a problem. I'm thinking at this point we'll just do one at the end of this season regardless. I know it'll be 12 years and be a bit weird being 12 rather than 10. Pinero with a lovely finish. It's offside. But there's no point going back to the 10-year save file now. That's just silly. And also, the end of this season is going to be significant anyway, because one way or the other, it's going to be the end of an era. Either it's the end of Non-League to Legend, and it'll be our review at the end of the save, and I'll put the save file out there for you all to have a play with, or it'll be, well, we're moving on from Arsenal and going somewhere else. So it's a good point to just take stock and look at the rest of the footballing world. Right, we'll bring Lawford on for Davidson, and we're going to bring Tommy Merson on for Henrique, and we're going to drop Schaefer back into the midfield 3, and hopefully just shuffling up the midfield a little bit like that is going to be enough to help us find a breakthrough. I mean, a draw away against Chelsea is not a disaster by any means, but it would be nice if we could go and grab a last minute winner. Who have we got on the bench to try and grab a goal? Willis and Salcedo. Let's get Ben Willis on. See if he's got a goal in him in these last 10 minutes. He's got the opportunity to make himself a hero. I expected a lot more of Ben Willis when he first broke through into our first team squad. He's not been this year's Liam Wells, and it makes me sad. But he has got the opportunity to make himself a hero right now if he can grab us a late goal in this game. Although it's Chelsea who are on the attack and Vice collects fairly comfortably. We've got 5 minutes left to go and grab a goal from somewhere. We haven't had a clear-cut chance in this entire game. All that talk of how well we've been playing, Leshy and Pingu only got injured in the last match, so it could well be that without our 2 star men, all that good form has left the team with them, which would be a bit of a disaster. But I think we've probably got enough to get past Celtic regardless, and I do have to keep reminding myself, Premier League's not a priority. It'll be nice little icing on the cake this year, and Dolberg is in. Willis is there, and Ben Willis does make himself a hero. Ben Willis with a bit of a sweaty FIFA goal. It's squared from Dolberg, and Willis tucks it away, but nobody cares. Sometimes you have to do things like that and feel a bit dirty about it afterwards, but needs must. It's Dolberg who breaks through, but he's too old to get there, just squares it to Willis, who just tucks it away at the improved angle. And 86 minutes on the clock. We've gone 1-0 up. We've gone back to the top of the league for the first time in goodness knows how long. And hopefully that... Oh, no. Oh, Vice collects nicely. There you go. I'm doing Vice hands. Just keep hold of it, sir. And we just need to... We've got a minute plus any injury time. Martelot with a lovely challenge, and Dolberg is working into the channels again, squares it for Willis again, and this time Willis doesn't get there. But we're finally pushing on Chelsea a little bit in these last few minutes as their old men team start to get a little bit tired, but they've equalised. I mean, they've got 2 men called Jesus. Let's face it, they were... Don't do the pun, Kev, don't do the pun. But still, the Jesuses combine. I mean, that's got to be cheating. Just got to be cheating. And it's 1-1, and all the excitement is gone. Have we got time to go and grab a winner again? We've already grabbed 1 winner. Can we grab another winner? There's 2 minutes. 2 minutes left. 1 minute left now. And it's Chelsea who have the ball. Vitali controls down to Vice, who sort of lumps it forward, but it's a really poor clearance, actually. Doesn't even make it out of our half. And we've left ourselves under a lot of pressure for these last 30 seconds or so. But now we've got the chance for a break. And it's with Tommy Merson to Dolberg. Dolberg still too slow for a counter-attack. This time can't find a red shirt, and it's Chelsea coming back at us. But we intercept again. Schaefer forward to Dolberg. Dolberg plays it really poorly, but it ends up with Lawford. And now it's Chelsea pushing back on us again. But Schaefer intercepts. Merson's fouled, but it's full time and it's 1-1. And not a disaster, but I feel like we probably could have won that game. Let's go beat Celtic and then we'll all cheer up. Couple of changes for the Celtic game. Then Leshy comes in for David in midfield, and Alex comes into the back four at the expense of a tired-looking Martelot. He says when actually Martelot's no more tired than most of the rest of the team. We've done our usual resting the players between games, but the games are coming thick and fast, and I'm having to... I've still never really learned how to do rotation properly in all these years of playing Football Manager, and... Yeah, I don't know if I rotated the team enough for this game. That really should be a foregone conclusion, but I'm a little bit afraid that we've certainly got it in our locker to bottle this. We've bottled situations similar to this one before, so Champions League's top priority. It would be silly to rest players for any game at this stage of the competition. That's the logic that I'm using here. The other game going on at the moment is Everton against Inter. I don't even remember Everton finishing top 4, but I guess they must have done. Unless they won the Europa League last year, but I don't remember them doing that either. But there you go, Everton fans, in the Champions League in 12 years' time. That's what you've got to look forward to. Arsenal fans, you'll also be in the Champions League in 12 years' time, so you have something to look forward to as well. Right. Oh, I forgot they had the Robbie Nadak clone in goal. Old Bolker. Forgot all about him. We had a right little chat about him yesterday. Hopefully he's going to have a Nadak-esque performance again. Here you are, Robbie. No. Come on, lads. Let's just get an early goal and calm old Kev down a little bit. Pinheiro in behind. Squares to Dolberg, who I thought that hit the inside corner of the goal and bounced down over the line, but apparently it was wide. It must have hit the stanchion thing behind it. That's what the thing behind it's called, isn't it? That's a word I only ever knew through Football Manager or Championship Manager, back when it used to have the text commentary on there. And I always thought it meant post. But in later life, I've learned I don't think it is the post. I think it's the thing behind the post. I could be wrong. Perhaps it does mean post. Who knows? Let me know down in the comments. What does stanchion mean? And am I saying it right? Because I only know it through reading text commentary on Football Manager. It's probably still in the game. When was the last time they updated the text down there that nobody reads anymore? Right, we have a corner. This needs to be our opportunity to go and put ourselves 1-0 up and just calm the nerves around the club a little bit. We've had a lot of clear-cut chances, a lot of the ball, and we've been a little bit wasteful in that first 20 minutes or so. 2 clear-cut chances, 1 half chance. Celtic haven't had a shot yet, and we were on like 60% possession, and we've got nothing to show for it at the moment. So really need to make a breakthrough sooner rather than later. I'd like to be able to take Leshy off, but I want to be comfortable when we take him off. I don't want to break him, but at the same time, we showed against Celtic that without him pulling the strings from midfield, we do find it a little bit difficult to create chances. Jamie with the big deep cross, and there is a Nadat moment from Bolka, just kind of punching it out at nobody in particular, but they get away with it again. And now Pinheiro's pulled his hamstring. Right, I think I probably have to take both Pinheiro and Leshy off at half-time and just hope that we don't have a collapse. And if we do, and this is a decision that messes up the rest of our season, then so be it. Jerome Whiteley, you haven't met him yet. He's 23 years old. He's another one who come for our youth team, a similar sort of mould to the likes of Hutchings and Merson, who we've had come through before. He's been out on loan for ages, but my assistant manager told me to recall him at Christmas because he should be playing Premier League football. We gave him 20 minutes and he scored. I wonder if we give him an entire half. Ben Willis, Willis scored against Chelsea. I am a monster for not bringing Willis on, but I just have a feeling that this is a moment for Whiteley because he's going to be really excited at the prospect of playing in the Champions League after nearly 200 games knocking around the lower leagues of England, reaching the age of 23 before I even knew he existed. He probably thought his opportunity to play in the Champions League or ever really play for Arsenal was long gone. So similar to how we did it with Merson and with Hutchings, players who weren't really good enough for us but played out of their skin for us because they were our players and were taking their chance. Whiteley might just do the same thing, but he's missed out on the ball there completely. This logic is going to fail me, isn't it? And he's going to be the reason that we don't win the Champions League this year. Ball forward towards Whiteley, who's so far looking a little bit off the pace in the first minute and a half of European football in his career. So I am being a little bit harsh. We're knocking the ball around fairly comfortably. It's a ball over the top towards Whiteley, and he's in behind. Jerome Whiteley forces a save out of their keeper. He's lively. I like him. I like a lively striker who's going to run a bit and get around a bit and just try hard. A try-hard striker is never a bad thing. But apparently we don't even get to see the corner and the game just continues moving along at a snail's pace with nothing really happening. Normally these boring 0-0s, you don't see a lot of highlight. But we're getting a lot of highlights. We're just wasting them. Because we've had 17 shots and we're just dominating possession. What we don't need is a Celtic goal. If we just carry on knocking the ball around like this, I guess that's fine. We're already in control of the tie, which is presumably why no one's showing any urgency. Davidson to Felipe. Crosses in towards Whiteley. Brings it down nicely and weirdly plays it out to Jamie. But Whiteley's on the other end of it. And that's another clear-cut chance. That's 4 we've had now. I think that was probably the best one of the game. And it's Whiteley who's missed it. Would Ben Willis have scored? Would a hamstrung Pinheiro have scored? Probably not for either of them because it feels like one of those days. Dolberg plays Whiteley, and again, he's still getting involved in everything. I tell you, the man is lively. He might not be very effective, but he tries hard and runs around a bit, and sometimes that's what you need for a centre forward. Davidson now, a little back heel across to Enrique. Let's not get too fancy until we score in this game. Schaefer to Whiteley, crosses to absolutely nobody. It was a terrible cross, but Davidson's there to collect on the other side, and he now crosses. That's much better, and Schaefer misses an absolute sitter. How many more chances are we going to miss before we're made to pay for it? Because I am starting to feel a little bit nervous, a little bit twitchy about what's going on here. Schaefer to David. Dolberg, we're just camped out in the final third of the pitch in Celtic's half, but can't get the breakthrough. Enrique now misses another good chance. 9 chances, 9 good chances have fallen to us in this game now, and we're just not doing anything with any of them. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. Alex now to presumably build another nice passing move that ends in missing a sitter. No, we're just not even going to bother with a nice passing now. See, they're starting to get worried. Whiteley now misses another good chance. Right, let's get... I don't know whether to bring on Lawford or Ben Willis. I think we probably need Willis. Just so that we've got someone to score the goals. I don't think we know we're not having problems creating the chances. I don't think we need Lawford to offer us something different in midfield. We just need a different option up front to try and grab us a goal. Because I don't know why we're being so ridiculously useless with our attacking. And I can't believe we're trying to win the Champions League with Whiteley and Willis up front. But Jerome Whiteley has scored. He keeps his 100% Arsenal goal scoring record alive. 2 goals from 2 games now, including a really important one in the Champions League. Jerome Whiteley, I mean, he's drifting towards cult hero status already, and good old Bolker doing a nada in goal. That was just pathetic goalkeeping, but we don't care. And we're going to have a new cult hero emerge here, because Whiteley is just, I mean, we've seen him just bumble around not being very good, but he just seems to be one of those strikers who, despite the fact he's not very good, weighs in with goals. Right, Enrique, back to David. Now we can do the silly little passing around on the edge of the area and it doesn't matter. Willis, back to Felipe. Just don't let Celtic have the ball again today. Whiteley's in again and hits the post. It's the Jerome Whiteley show, everybody. There's every chance you'll never see him again. I'll never have need to use him again. Pingu's going to be fit again soon. Salcedo probably is thinking, why wasn't I on the bench today? And that's a question I want to ask my assistant manager as well, because, Kev doesn't pick his own subs. But Whiteley gets his opportunity and he's taken his opportunity. So it's Whiteley again, back to Davidson. Schaefer to Davidson again. We've got about 30 seconds left. This is the time for knocking the ball around and not letting Celtic have the ball, which is what we've been doing for most of the game. Schaefer to Willis, back to Schaefer, back out to Felipe. Big cross towards Whiteley, who's nowhere near it. And Enrique, back to Jamie, to David, to Enrique, to Jamie. Look at this football. Schaefer down to Whiteley, and Jerome Whiteley has only gone and scored again. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to describe the ridiculous goal-scoring threat that apparently is Jerome Whiteley, and that's a beautiful finish as well. He got a lot of luck and a big assist from the keeper on the first one, but that is a cracking strike. 2-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate. Our run in this year's Champions League continues and hopefully culminates in a victory. We would love to pick up a Champions League win, and I'm just going to show you Jerome Whiteley before we go, because I know you'll all ask. That's Jerome Whiteley. I mean, he doesn't look disastrous. I'm judging it all based on his 2.5-star ability. The fact that he's never really going to be good enough for us. He's a 7th best striker at the club. But to give some context, 2.5 stars is as good as Salcedo. So shows how much we've come on. That Eddie Salcedo, who was a star for the first couple of seasons, is now only considered a 2.5-star player. Anyway, let's wrap things up there. I know you normally like to see the Champions League draw, but got a doctor's appointment, so I've got to rush off. So you'll find out who we got in the Champions League tomorrow when we play that game. If you have enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.